Okay, let's give this a shot again. Sorry about that, guys. Some reason my thing wouldn't allow it to click over. Let's see here. Now it's live. Good. Okay. Sorry, we had to I had to stream, restart, and then bring back up. Okay. So rather than c4, they're saying that actually knight to f3 is best here, because if he played e5 now, pawn takes, and then knight takes, and if knight takes, now you're up a whole pawn. So the knight to f3 stops black's idea, and it develops a piece of e5. So g4 was played to allow basically e5 to come to pass. We go bishop to b5, and we're like, you can push now if you'd like, but we're gonna take. You can take, and then we'll take back. So we stop e5 by a pin against the king. So e6 to, he has to get his bishop out, but black has to get the bishop out. So the only way to do that now is to go e6, and then this lets his bishop out, but black would have really wanted to have gone e5, but he couldn't because we stopped it with a pin. We stopped it with it. We now have an attack here, and just one small move, rather than c4, knight to f3 changed the whole sitch. Now this is actually winning for white instead of black. Knight c3, e7, knight c7 to protect this, because he doesn't want the bishop to take back and double the pawns like that. That wouldn't be very good for white, let's just say. So b3 to guard. If to take here, we can take with the queen rather than the pawn to break up our pawn structure. Oh, come on. Uh-oh, hold on. Sorry, it stops here. Okay, this is where it stops. And what he says here is that this is actually better. He prefers white in this sharp position, because white has more attack. And even if the bishop was to take, I know you guys are wondering, what if he takes on f3? You just take back, and then what you do is you have the g file for your rook. So there's no loss for white here. There's nothing. White's like in good plan here. If you could even try c5, and hello, hey, how you doing? c5, and potentially after we move the queen, you can maybe attack with a3, queen, and then something similar to that. Get some attack going. You have to remember that to win material, you kind of have to look ahead. So instead of that, he went knight to f6. Okay, but interesting would have been instead of that, interesting would have been f6. So that's a potential idea. So f3, knight f3, bishop g, the pin, and then knight bishop b5, which actually pins the knight to the king. So this is an absolute pin. This is a relative pin here. That means you can move a piece and it's no longer a problem. You could even, if you ever wanted to, move the piece, and even the piece behind it, if it gets captured, it's not a big deal. Okay, bishop takes and queen takes. This actually was a mistake taking, because what happens, we'll go back real quick. He should have waited till white played h3 and then taken, because he willingly surrendered the two bishops, and you really don't want to do that without some sort of compensation for it. Otherwise, then you go into an imbalance, like Jeremy Silman said, of the two knights versus the two bishops. And yes, it's early in the game, you really don't want to do that. You want to get development. taking actually violates a multitude of principles. Don't move your piece twice in the beginning. This is move 5 and you're taking, except if it's a line, but this isn't really a line. Queen takes, and you helped actually develop the queen. So now this queen is attacking this pawn. So this queen has to stay on tact with that one, in contact with that one. So e6 is played to let out the dark squared bishop, and if there's a check, of course we go c3, then we can go b4, and then we can go a4 and put some pressure, get some queenside advance. So knight d2, bishop d3. Black's trying to trade off pieces to relieve basically the cramp that he's going to potentially be in, and white doesn't want to give up his 2 bishop advantage, so he plays bishop to g5. And then a6 is very dubious because there's no real reason to go a6. a6 has really no point. Let me see, what we're on move 8. I just gotta make sure I do this right. It's a waste of time. This is a plain pure waste of time. Then now we can take, and by us taking, this does do something to Black's structure. We keep a strong connected pawn chain, and now Black has an isolated pawn. At 2 pawn islands, we have 1 pawn island, which makes a huge difference in an endgame because there's points of entry for the king to get to. In this chain here, if we traded all of White's pieces off, all these, and then we traded all of Black's, there's really no way for Black to enter into White's position if it just came down to kings right now. But there is a way that White can, because of this weak pawn on a6. It ties Black down to the guardian of that. If it came down to a king versus king in this chain structure. One sec, let me just get a drink of water, guys. Mouse drives. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, better. Now we're back into the fight. So e4, which actually threatens to play e5 because this bishop pins the knight to the queen. So even if the bishop moved after there was a fork, there's no way to save this knight. So e6, bishop e7 is played, and we played queen to c3. We saw that the queen here wasn't really doing anything. Remember that weakness that the bishop took the knight? Now this weakness is coming to pass. We can now take scope on the bishop with on the pawn with the queen. c6. c5 is played. He has to gambit a pawn. This is very desperate to actually play this move here. This is also a subline that could be played. e5, knight g, bishop takes, knight takes, and in this position, the more pieces that come off the board, the more it benefits White, because even though they have equal pawns, we talked about how that pawn chains do matter in an endgame, and so the pawn chain here betters White. So that's why b3, and then we can actually drop a knight in to either c5, potentially a5 is an idea as well. And these two, this would not have been possible if there was a pawn here, because he could have pushed the pawn and had a complete chain like this. This pawn could have been there, and then there would have been no way for the knight to have entered in, because this pawn would have guarded the points where the knight would want to jump in. But because the pawns are not here, these 2 points are weak now. There's nothing to stop an outpost from coming to pass. So c5, which is, he has to gambit a pawn away. Bishop takes, and then queen takes. So now we're up one pawn. Bishop d6 does have some ideas to it. I mean, not bishop, queen d6, sorry. I don't know why I'm thinking bishop. I'm looking over at this here. Queen d6 does have a idea to it. If we trade off, it would open up two files for his rooks, black's rooks, to play on. And rooks love open files, so we really kind of want to, we're gonna have to trade, but you're kind of stuck in that situation. But that was a really good move by black. The ideas are these two open files here. Okay, e takes d, and knight takes, bishop takes d4. And now we played c3 to attack the bishop. The bishop goes to a7, and then now we castle queenside. We have full development, and black is still behind in his development. e5, because he can't allow for us to take here and then take there. Then he would have two two connected center pawns that are vulnerable to two rook attacks. If he allowed us to take here and then take back, we can have both our rooks. But we'd have to guard this pawn first, of course, this pawn. So e5 was played. There's also bishop takes f, which is kind of a little too hyper. Knight e5. This pawn's going to fall with check, so the bishop's got to run. Check. King c2, king e2, e takes, f takes, and then rook takes d6. And now we have the possibility for doubling up here. So even if a rook tried to slide over, we just like if a rook slide over here, we would just double up here, here, and even if he took, we could take, and then we have these 2 points of attack. So you just gotta always be careful. So e5, e4. This knight now is a temporary outpost. It's not a full outpost because f5 could dislodge the knight, but right now it's outposted, but it's not a true outpost. King d7 and g4. This stops f5. Now this is an outpost, because if black ever tried to push, white would just take back, and now there's nothing more that could attack the knight, so this would be outposted. f6, which really doesn't have anything to do with it, is too passive, and he said that black should try to blast open the this file here. He should try to basically I call it lever, they call it blasting open. He should play this here, and even if that happens, you potentially have a rook, something like this, and now you somewhat have an open file to attack with double pawns. But he didn't play that. He played a more passive move, which is, oops, sorry, what am I? Maybe oh, he did play that. Okay, so, alright, my bad there. Okay, this is actually what I said, right here, here, and rather than that, this is what should be played, that's what I should say. Here, g5, this gets a sclam, because now the idea of going f5 doesn't really work as well as it did before the rook moved. So f5, g takes f, g takes, and then rook h1 with now a potential check, and we win, pick up another pawn. f7, rook g3, f5, knight g5, and now we see another outpost ready for us to enter onto, which is e6. Rook d. But first we have to do one thing, because the knight attacked the rook. This pawn is still loose, so we have to kind of tie up loose ends, which is rook to d2, and this ties up the loose end of f2. And now we can drop a knight into e6 with no fear of our position having any holes in it. It's all been patched up everywhere, and we're safe to go into battle. But g4 and then f6, too passive. Rook g to no hg1. Now we have the potential of pushing on the king side. So ac1, which puts some ideas of a potential bishop to d4. That's an idea because of this pin here. b3, so that if he does try this pin, we can just play either b2 or d2, and more likely probably d2 here. And now the bishop's under fire, and we can push c4 and cement our queenside advantage. a5's played, king d2 to get out of the pin of that. And then queen c7. His idea is potentially to double up, but really once we go, we can at any time go c4, and then what's the point? Rook g3, it guards the pawn, and so now this is a waste of a move again. It has really no point kind of to the play. Rook to f3, rook f8, and I want you guys to kind of, white wants to find an outpost. This is a move you have to analyze the whole board. Think of an outpost that the knight would want to go to, but it looks like it's impossible to get there. Where would the knight want to go to for an outpost? He has these outposts. I'll highlight. Which outpost would white want to actually go to? Would he want to go to the outpost on f5, h5, or e6? And how would he be able to get to those outposts? And if you guys want to, you guys can pick one of the outposts you want to get the knight to. There's really only one spot that is the best spot. Of course, you guys see that. But if you guys just pick which spot the knight would want to go to, and I'll step back and I'll let you guys take a second and look to choose which spot and how can the knight get there. This is a quiz for you guys, because we will see what you guys choose, and then we'll go over it. I'll type in the outpost spot so you guys have it too. Okay, so f5, f5, or h5, or e6. Which one of these spots would the knight want to actually go to? That's the best spot for the knight, and which one, and how does he get there? Yeah, perfect. Nice job. Great. That is right. And that's actually the move that gets the an exclam. You have to have, like what you said. You have to go to, you have to look at, there's a pin here, so if the knight ever took, you win a rook. And if the knight ever gets to e6, and let's say the rook, we'll just do a move for black. This wasn't played, of course. It's into e6, and now white's going to win an exchange. So if he plays here, you just pick up the exchange, and now you go on to win. Because you will be able to pry open a spot now. It's getting down to enough counterplay where you can just like go c4, get a rook in here maybe, or even if you have to go down and then go c5, maybe even sacrifice a pawn to pry open a open file for your two rooks. Good find there, guys, on g5, knight g5. Rook b8, and so the knight just comes happily walking in. Now there's a pawn that's under attack and a rook that's under attack. Only one move for black to save it. That's the most active. Otherwise, I guess there's two moves. The rook could go to g8 or f7. I prefer what black played, f7, because that kind of at least gets it a tiny bit active. It's not being total passive on the back rank. So you kind of can maybe, I don't know, black's just so cramped. I would not want to play black in this position. So king e2. Now we're off the dark squares. So, and this pawn is protected by the king. It was being attacked by the bishop. So now we have a rook that's free to the f3 rook's free to roam now, and go after maybe h3 to go after that pawn. Potentially maybe c, and then get in behind here and break open. You never know. So queen to b6, h4. Now we're trying to see if we can't make any little spots in the wall of black's castle. If we can find a weak stone, we're going to try to hammer that with stones, or just pry it open, charge it. So that's what white's trying to find. He's looking for any points of weakness that black has. We don't have anything on the queen side at the moment, so white figures black's not really doing anything, so why not put a little pressure on the king side. So h5 is played, and he plays a very mistake. They call it a mistake. I call that a really, really bad move. That's just my opinion. You don't want to ever help your opponent with his idea. By taking and opening this, you now allowed for a rook to potentially get to the h file, and so that's exactly what black does. Black goes White goes, thank you very much for playing g6. I'll take, and boom, man, you were really really nice for giving me this sweet open file. I didn't even have to sacrifice anything to open it. That's really nice of you. A little sarcasm there, sorry guys, but that's probably what this rook's saying, on the board. Rook b, e7 now. He's going to try to get the king, because there's going to be a check that happens on h8. King to d7. This bishop, black's in full defense. All of his forces are like, save the king, save the king. If we move, the king doesn't continue. So now we actually drop rook to knight f8, and so if he takes, we win. So the king can't. This spot's guarded. That spot's guarded, and he really has only 2 points to go to. E8 and C8, or C7. Sorry, E8 or D8 or C7. He chooses D8, which then that just drops another pawn. Rook to E8. Rook takes E8. King takes E8, and then king d3, which this stops that attack. The king's getting closer, and the knight, we also potentially could gambit a pawn if we ever needed to, but I don't think we need to. So d8, knight h4, potentially we're trying to get to f5 now, potentially e3, and then c4 with a double attack on these two pawns. The d6 and a5. f5 coming down, king d7, g3. Well, I guess you still have the idea of e4, which is an interesting idea. a4, there we go, we got attack. Of course, if he takes here, which they're saying he played rook to g6 to guard this pawn. If he took, it wouldn't make any difference, because now it's just white's totally better. He's got two pawns, 5 versus 3, so he's gonna win. And he just solidifies everything, seals up everything. No points of weakness for white. That pawn's guarded. There's no way to get there because of the pawn. The d4 square is covered. And if the king comes here, we just come to d7, and we can pick up the d7 pawn, and we'll be 3 pawns up. So rather than that, he kind of plays a passive move. It's the best move in the sitch, which is rook g6. King f5, which potentially it doesn't allow this pawn to move if it ever wanted to, kind of to give up a weakness. These are two backward pawns, so white's like, not gonna happen, and if you allot me, I'm gonna go f3, cement my structure, and you're always gonna have this f6 weakness. Your bishop is tied down, and I have full attack. One second, I need to drink water. Much better, thank you. Okay, so he plays bishop to e7. He has to do something. He's got to move. In chess, you have to move. So he does. And f3. Now everything's perfect. He could actually, in this, go rook to h5 if he had to, and infiltrate to h7 with a pin. So white's got so much compared to black. So rook e8, a4, and we have almost every single pawn on light squares. This cements the a5 pawn on its square. We could at a certain point go b4. And if he takes, we have 2 connectors to run down the board. We also have this weakness, so black's in deep trouble. King f7. He wants to be able to free this rook up to guard these 2 passers that are going to be coming down the board. So b4 is played, rook g4, and then g5. Smack, because he can't take. Because of course you guys see why. A pin. So that gets his glam. He could he played rook to g6 again. There is king g6, and what I will give you guys a chance to take a look. What do you think the move here is? Because there's actually a move that wins. The reason white did not just play a move. White knew what he was doing when he played this. He saw the 2 responses, rook g6 and king g6. So what would you play here if you were white? I will throw the question to you guys. Will you play G takes F6 or knight takes F6 RB 5? Which one of these would you pick? And then if you can, you guys can make a line. I'm just throwing out ideas for you guys to choose from. You have this move here, you have this move, or you have knight takes F6. Which move do you guys choose? And if you can, I'll give you some time to put in a line of play. Like, why would you choose that? And you guys can give a line. So I'll step back and allow you guys to look at the options that we're given, and you guys then can choose which one you like. I'll give you guys a little bit more time, and I'll give you guys like one more minute to choose, because then we'll continue onward and I'll show you the move sequence. Knight F6, interesting. Okay, knight F6. If he takes the rook, then you take back, threatening the bishop. Yeah, that is good. I do like that is an interesting idea. Yeah, and then G takes F. That is perfect. I agree that this move right here does have some play. Like if he takes back, you're right. But you do drop a pawn, so it's not that it's not the best move. That is a good move. But now we're going to look at the other move that was put in. Yeah, exactly. So if king, G takes, yeah. And what happens, correct, that is actually right. What'll happen is the king will take, and then F takes, and there's no way to stop, because if he goes there, you guys, there's a fork. Yeah, White saw this, and he knew that the rook wouldn't be able to play. So we're just gonna say that. Let's see here. We'll trying to figure out where the king could actually go to. I want to see what the computer says is the best. Okay, takes here. Okay, then you take. Okay, okay, king there, and then knight. Okay, this makes more sense. He plays there, and then you could queen. Rook takes, knight takes, and when the king takes, there you go. We just had he stopped at this part here when when takes, this is kind of where he stopped. And so I had to put it into the computer to see the continuation of what would actually happen. And he's going to have to give up his rook for this pawn. And you'll come down to a knight versus like a knight and 3 pawns versus a king and 1. And it's all over. But great job. But I gotta tell you, the knight move does make sense. So like knight f6 is an idea, because you still are up 2 pawns. Let's see how many you got. Yeah, you're still up 2 pawns. The only problem is your knight is kind of dominated at this moment, because a bishop 2 squares away dominates a knight. But it's not that it's a bad idea. It's a great idea. I'm glad you guys didn't pick b5. I kind of had to throw a third move in there, kind of like a teaser, because some might have actually picked b5 thinking that they get a pass pawn. Oops, sorry here. Sorry, thinking that they get a after king here, thinking they get a pass pawn on b5 and potentially they can do something. But it's not about, it's about this. So good job, guys. Good work. It's all about learning, that's the whole thing. There is no wrong choice. We would go through it. We'll find out what the move, the pros and the cons, and then we would find the correct move. So there is no wrong move. There's only a move, like my teacher taught me, a move that isn't, or a question or a move that isn't played. And we would go over moves. I would propose a move, and he would ask me, give me a line. I'd give him a line. Then we would go over that. Then he would show me that, like in this scenario, after all the takes, he would say, but he would say this, look, your knight's dominated. We would do something like this, and then he would say, look, your knight's here, it's dominated. That's not a bad move. It's just not the best move. Okay, that's what he would tell me. And so I picked up kind of his teaching methods. So rook g and pawn takes anyways, because we want to trade off, and the more pawns come off the board, the more our 2 connectors get even better. If we could trade off these rooks, we're even better as well, because we have this majority on the queen side. And at this point, let me see, I don't think there's any more in this game. Yeah, he resigned here. And this is where the game ended. And so yeah. And now what we're going to do is what my teacher also taught me was, he asked me a question, would you like to understand why moves are played and how the moves get to where they are? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, I want to show you what I was taught. He was taught that, he says, if you play back the moves, you will get to see why the moves are actually played. So what we're going to do is play the moves back until we get to move 1. And I'm going to let you guys just sit back and enjoy and watch, because you'll get to see why moves are played. This is what my teacher taught me. You just go back, you actually start working backwards, and he would say, just watch. Because we spent like several hours studying, like 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours at night, and so and then at the very end, he would take me to a game to the very end. Then he would walk it backwards, and then I learned so much from that, because I learned why moves were set up, why pieces were taken, and at certain points he would stop and say, this is why this move was played. This is why I'm turning it going backwards for you. So really helpful. And then if you notice that ideas like we got to see, we're going back, and we see the reason that he plays from here to here was actually to go to e4. And then now we get to see the idea, his rook goes there, we go to F5, or potentially like F5, then we go to E. Okay, let's see. Sorry, hold on. We're going forward. There we go. And then now the bishop is attacking the pawn. So we just go back slowly. We're seeing why each move is played. This was a little more advanced, and I know you guys could take this, because it's been a long time since I've studied with my teacher. So I kind of forgot this is how we did it, and so it kind of like this morning it clicked. I'm like, I need to implement that into our studies as well. And so like takes, and then the drawback to this move is we get to actually talk as we're going back. The drawback to this move is taking, and then rook to h1. That's the idea. So h5 is to stop g6. That's why I played that. And so bishop, he has to move something. And now the reason the king moves to e2, guard the pawn. And then now the knight moves. Now we're seeing that the idea is knight to e6. And then there's critical points we'd stop at. Like right here is very important as well. He said, why do you think your opponent played, or why did you play rook to f3? And I said, because if he plays rook to f8, I have the ability to, oops, stop that, there we go. I have the ability to go knight to g5 because of a pin, and then I can implant my knight to e6. He says, that's right. So then we just continue to go back. Sorry, let's hold on, yeah, there. King. And b3 to allow, of course, we know, kings because of this pin. With this pin here, bishop, that allows for us to get out of the pin. a5. Now you get to see that the reason c5 would have been better rather than f6 is it would take away this pawn here and potentially open up a file for an attack for black. e5 is played. The reason e5 is because, remember, he doesn't want to take to open up an attack on the king. So, and then now we get to see the reason he castled queenside was to develop his last piece, and if he does take, he can then put his two rooks on beautiful open files. Oh, sorry, back, hold on, sorry, sorry about that, guys. Back. Oh no, I'm going forward. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, there. And now when he takes here, we're going to take back. That's an idea. And then if he takes, he gets doubles. So that's why he took with the bishop rather than take it with the pawn. This is how grandmasters think. They go all the way to the end, and then they work backwards. So now when we took the pawn here, the best move for black is queen to d6. So when we take here, now you see why when we take, we're going to win this pawn, because we remove the bishop from the defense of this pawn. So there'll only be one defender, not two defenders. And now when the queen moved, when the bishop moved here, now you get to see that queen to c3 is important. And b takes. Now you see why he takes there. And if he takes, you see, I'm just wanting to show you that. And then g5. And we're just slowly getting back. And when you're able to go forward, you learn from a book, and then you put each move back. You can analyze it a second time even deeper. because then you get to see how it unfolds, how it folded, and then how it unfolds back on itself, and then you get to see the patterns, why moves were moved. Then, and now you get to see why he didn't. Black didn't even wait for h3. So then knight to f6. We're almost there. And now we're at the very beginning. And you guys got to see it forward, and you guys got to see it backwards. And for some reason, our mind likes to see it forward and backwards. I don't know why, but that's what my teacher was telling me, that it helps it. Our minds will remember it better that way. So now we will go into our puzzles, and we'll do some puzzles now. So we've done some studies. Oh, and I want to tell you guys, I created Team Chess Cruncher. I'll pull it up and show you guys. I believe this is here, so you guys know. My team, Team Chess Cruncher. If you guys would like to join, we have a team now. You guys are more than welcome to join Team Chess Cruncher. Okay, now we'll get into our puzzles slash tactics. Okay, let's see, what do we got here. Alrighty then. And then maybe at the very end we'll do, I have a Nakamura game, we'll throw in a Nakamura versus Topalov. He uses, I believe the London, because the number for the London is actually D02, and I pulled up a game with Nakamura D02. That's how you look up what openings you're going to you want to look at. It'll show up on the side of like the game. Okay, so let's see here. So rook to rook to f6. What can we play on rook f6 here? He gave up one drawback to that is he surrendered one rook off of the back rank. I'm wondering if we can't play bishop to f7 here. Well, no, we can't do that. I was hoping to play that, but this bishop guards this point. Sorry, black's bishop guards here on e8, because I was hoping for this rook to trade off and then us to checkmate here, but this bishop guards e8, so that's out of the question. What are we missing here? I was looking at that, but I think the only sitch with that is if we go bishop b3, he can actually take. But I kind of see the logic that does make some sense, and we take there. But then he can actually just come straight back, and I think we're down exchange in that point. I did look at that. I did look at bishop to b3. That is not a bad move. Just trying to see, is there anything else that we're missing here? Ooh, this looks interesting. Bishop c6. This would be an interesting move here. Bishop c. I believe it's bishop c6. Bishop c6. Because what happens is we're blocking this point right here from black, and then if black takes our bishop, we actually could take here and win. So if we play here, let's say he takes, we can actually check there. He comes there and we back rank mate him. Bishop, I believe it's bishop c6. Now if he takes the pawn, of course, he gets back rank mated too. So what do you guys think? Bishop c6? That's what I'm voting. I vote that. And even if he takes with his rook, the funny thing is, even if he takes with his rook, he gets back rank mated. So if he takes there, he gets mated there. If he takes there, he gets mated there. Any move, yeah. Because I'll show you the lines. This is funny. If you play here, checkmate. If you play here, checkmate. If you play here, checkmate. So there's no good way to for him to. He's gonna have to lose a piece. So hold on, let me see what happened. So okay, so he took a pawn. I'm thinking rook to, but that's a fork. Then we have a fork here. So I don't think that works. Maybe we take the knight first, and then we play rook. I think it's knight, bishop takes d4. If rook takes d4, rook c7. And there's really no way to handle, because when the rook lands here, because the knight, unless we get rid of the knight could actually come back here, forking our rook and queen. So we have to dispose of this knight here. This knight has to be gone. So what do you guys think? Bishop D, I vote bishop takes d4. What do you guys think? Yeah, let's give that a shot. Trying to see what, because that weakens this here on h7. What am I missing here? Thinking something to do with queen to h6. Then I'm a little well, I get no, he can't come back there, can he? Well, he could go rook. If he goes rook up there, no, we have that. Oh, here. He can't play there at that point because we cover that. Yeah, queen. I believe it's queen h6. Excuse me. And if he plays rook here to try to stop that, you first can check, and then if he moves here, if he goes back, we take, and then if he moves back with his rook, we take with our queen's mate. What do you guys think? Queen h6. Yep. There we go. Good job, guys. Good job. Wait a second. I'll go back and I gotta show you guys the move ideas that we were talking about. Oops. This is what I wanted to tell you guys about here. If he plays up here, we play here. If he comes there, like what we're talking about, he comes there, and then you get mate. There you go. I just wanted to show that to you guys, that there was mate in the position if he didn't sack his queen. So it was a forced move. Ah. Alright, cool. I believe that bishop to f5, that covers but I could just take with check, so that doesn't work. I'm missing something here. But this is, yeah, king h8 is a potential idea. I'm just look. Well, yeah, I guess that would work, wouldn't it? Yeah, that it. Yeah, good find there. I forgot. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Oops, not there. Here. That was my fault there. I was going to. Oh, great. That was me. I was mouse slip there. Yeah, this allows for if he was to push here. And then, actually, let me see. Oh, let's go back. Sorry about that, guys, about the mouse slip there. If he checks here, we play there. He takes. If he pushes, we check, and then when he moves, we just move our king either spot, and we got this covered. So, yeah, drat. That was my fault there. We're doing so good. I was gonna make a blue line like this, but somehow I clicked on that, and I actually clicked a square. It's irritating, but you know what? You recover and you keep pushing forward. But that was right. King to h8 was right. King h8 was right. We'll do one more and then we'll go over Nakamura's game, and then we'll come back and finish out the rest of the time on puzzles, because I want to show you Nakamura's game as white. Let's see here. Okay, we'll take a look at that real quick, and then we'll get back to this puzzle. Thank you guys for being patient. So let's see how many moves this is. Oh, not bad. 47. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got Fox. If you wanted to, I built the team. If you guys want to join Team Chess Cruncher, just wanted to let you know. So it's up and going. Uh-oh, wrong one. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, okay, there. Yeah, the proper line is knight to f3. He usually plays knight f6, e3. He plays there. And if he tries something like this, you can play b3 and you're good to go. Yeah, the move order is important, but you're still fine. Whoa, that's an interesting line for sure. G3 is actually the proper move, because if he takes, you have the open H file. And then if he plays this, you could always play bishop to g5, pinning, and if he retreats back, then you can play knight f4 to kind of get things reconsolidated again. And if he just castles, you still can play knight f4, and then just say, you know what, we're going to push the pawns. Knight f4, there you go. And you have to make sure, see this right here, the bishop guards this pawn here, so you really don't have anything really to attack. So you can, this queen b3 is like, well, I guess if he gives you time, you could play queen a and stop castling. Let's see here. Probably in this line I would lock down the position, because I no longer have my dark squared bishop. I try to make my light squared bishop the best piece in the game, and since white's pawns are all on light squares, just lock the chain down. If he tries something like that, just go b4. If he tries something like this, go a. If he takes, then he goes something like this. Just do have this, because the pawn chain is still in your favor because of your bishop. So e5, pawn takes. No, let me see here. c5. c5 is huge. This actually cements your advantage. You have a really good, and I guess he could play e5 there. And takes. I still think you're okay even after castles. Bishop e2. and if he tries something like that, you just play there, and if he tries like that, then you can always just take. Yeah, really messy. I like you pushed Harry up the board. Gotta love that. Loving it. I think I might have. If he then he could take there. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Yes, I'm always thinking of. I'm surprised he didn't. I guess he can't take, can he? I guess that is okay. Yeah, that does work. Okay, yeah, that's a good move. Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's best. And if he tries to double, is castle, and you're up 2 pawns. I guess you could even just pick off. No, you can't pick off the pawn. Yeah, I like that. Well, I was thinking. I looked at this, but I'm not sure if that's best. Bishop c4. I think it's still okay. Then you can castle, and then if he doubles. He does cement this pawn, so. Oh, can't play there. Snap. Kind of trying to think. Does rook? Let's see what the computer thinks about rook to f3. I want to see if that's the best move. Oh, wow! It likes that move. Okay, let's give it a second. Let's see what it chooses. I think it's going with rook to f3. He has to play there, and what do we play here? Okay. Yeah, then we play there, and then you have to move. Okay, let's see what happens if that. Oh, you're still. It's a drawn position, so you're still okay here. Wow, I'm surprised he did that. He should just take here. But you're still at material, so I think even if he took there, yeah, you still have this pass. You're still winning, so wow, you did great here. I think I might have played f3 here. Let's see if f3 is right. I believe f3 is right. It likes that better. Let's see what happens if we do. So bishop d3. Knight takes. Okay, we snap off another. Because he really can't. He can't take here. If he takes there, we play bishop check. So if he takes here. Oh, we cut the. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That rook is cut off from any play. Snikes, that's scary. We win a pawn. Wow. Gotta remember that. I gotta remember that. It's trying to. Let me see. I just want to see where we went wrong here. Well, still good so far. I just wanted to check with the engine to see. So, excellent so far. Oh, so we could play just. Okay. Rook to e2 would have cemented everything. Gotcha. Because then if he takes, we take back. If he takes here, we take back. Okay. So, a rook e2. Rook e2. If he checks there, we just move up here. Okay, then if he plays there, you can just take. Now we have infiltration point. And now we just come on in. So that wins. So we can't move off this file, otherwise you queen. Okay. Gotcha. I just wanted to see that. That was interesting. Okay. We'll finish this puzzle out, and then we'll do a Nakamura. We'll end on the Nakamura game. That was a really good game. Yeah, good. It's okay. It shows you that opening repertoire is important a little too. It probably might have been. You know what? Some of the Slav setups are pretty interesting. We'll just take a quick look. Let's see the Slav. We'll just take a look real quick. See. That's a different Slav. So let's check this. Let's check this Slav out here. Yeah. Very similar to a Slav. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we were going over the Chigorum variation. Yeah. Yeah, they played C4. So you were on to I think it was the second Slav one. Let me see it. Was it this one? Hold on, just 1 second. That's the bad line. This one is the one that most represents the one that you played. And now you see why, if the bishop wasn't outside, if the bishop was back in here, now you see the locking down the pawn chain type of thing too. So, okay, we'll get back onto our chess puzzles. Yeah. I'm going to try to make it available, all the lessons that we go over, for the members or the team to go over all the lines that we're going over. That's why I'm making studies, so that you guys can go over. The other ones didn't have names, and so when I find out kind of what he's talking about, I try to put in somewhat what line, what opening it is. Let's see here. I'm thinking maybe queen. Oops, not that. Queen to. Queen takes f7. We do though. Do we have anything to do with takes here and then? Let's see. If queen queen takes f7, check, and then king. Let me see, what could he go to? We'll say h8 is kind of the only move he can go to. Then we actually play bishop takes e4. What do you think? Huh. So we're in agreement. Is everybody on with queen takes f7? Are we all in agreement on that one? I'll give you guys a little bit to think about it, because I want the team to be in agreement on this. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Oh wow. So don't tell me knight takes. Abi. Yikesies. What did we? Yike. Let me see here. Oh, snap. No, that's okay. That is. Let me see. What's wrong with this here? What are we missing here? Okay, he could take there. Okay, equal. Drat. We'll do one more. It's a fork. It would have worked. Snap. It's okay. Hey, we'll get it back. Not to worry. Not to worry. Do 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 do. I think I'll save the Nakamura game till tomorrow. We'll go over that game, because it was versus Topalov, and I want to give it a little bit of time to analyze it, and so I'll have to do it at the very beginning of our lesson, and then we'll go into the studies. We'll do like 2 more puzzles. We'll do this one and then 1 more, and then I gotta log off. Alrighty. Come on, come on, come on. Alright, come on. Okay, so rook from C1 to G1. We have to make sure this works. Let's see, if we were to take there, what could our opponent play here? So he would actually take with his rook. So if bishop takes C7, so if we could distract the queen from guarding G, so if we could distract this queen from guarding G's 4, there's a way of doing it, but I think the rook, yeah, H4, sorry, not G4, H4. We can go here. I think G4, G6, and then we can actually take at that point. So if we go G6, he'll retreat. He might just take here. No, he can't take there. True. Nice find there. Yep. I'll put it out. I'll give you guys 1 more, and then I'll be right back. Do this last one. Bishop e5. Let's see here. Let's see here. I believe that potentially might be the move. Let me see. I think that is the only move. Let's put it through the calculation real fast. If you guys have any ideas, don't worry, just put them in. We'll look at it. So bishop e5. Yeah, the windmill does actually apply here. Because it goes there, then we grab, then it comes back, then we check, then he comes back, and we can actually grab everything. We gobble all of his pawns up, and then we win his rook in the end, or at least maybe a bishop. Rook e5, bishop e5, rook e2. That is an interesting move for sure. I do like that move. That is interesting. So do we all agree bishop e5? I think it's bishop e5. Bishop e5. Because I believe like rook d2, king e3, like what you're saying, and if he, yeah. Let's give it a go. Okay, that's the reason that attacks the rook. We'll do one more because we want to end on a positive, so we'll do one more. Let's see here. The only problem is, though, yeah, what you could do is you go to learning, and then you can go to puzzles, and you can do puzzles on LHS. So I like this idea here. Yeah, but then like here, yeah. Well, then you can take there. Right. Because otherwise we would equal. If we took queen takes, bishop takes, we'd be in an equal position. So the only move that does make sense is there. And so if he takes there, if he goes there, we take, check, and he has to take back, otherwise we made him. So rook takes bishop, knight takes, and then we win the queen. Perfect one to end on. I gotta love that. And I believe it works if he plays the knight move. I think it still works the same. I think it works exactly the same. It doesn't matter. I think this way is best for him. So that's 6. Let's see what it says if he did the knight one. Oh, 7. It's the same. It's equal at, let's see here. Did I, excuse me, answer everybody's questions? Did we answer everybody's questions? Are you all good? Okay. How about you, Fox? Are you good? But before I log off, do you have any other questions, Fox? Okay, perfect. Well, guys, I gotta tell you, you know what? We gotta remember that it's all about learning. And if you guys want to join the team, one second, I'll show you. This is our team right here. Team. This is the title. You type in Team Chess Cruncher if you want to join. Okay. I just wanted to show you guys that one more time. Okay. But you gotta remember, you learn. The most you learn from is actually your mistakes. But I gotta tell you, those are the ones that the sad thing is that people want to actually jump the hardest on. So don't feel bad, because you know what, it's the old phrase. Many people love a winner. You know what I mean? So, and when you lose, sometimes, you know the old phrase, you lose alone. But guess what? You never lose alone when you got the Lord. And also, you have to remember that that's the best point to learn. You have to be able to put away your ego and everything that a lot of people have, and I get like really upset sometimes when we miss tactics, but I have to remember that you have to miss one to learn and you learn more from your losses. I know I said that again, but it needs to be repeated. So just keep that in mind, and you know what, remember that there's a plan in the position. Don't get frustrated or flustered in a position, okay? Look for the best move, and don't react to your opponent's move. Find the best move that you know is the best, and we all have to kind of work on that. That's Jeremy Silman's idea of reactive chess, so we can't do that. And like Hannibal Smith said, there's always a plan in the position. We just gotta find it, and when you do, you get to say, I love it when a plan comes together. Well, guys, I'll leave you with this. As Wesley So says, serve the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. I'll be back on, Lord willing, tomorrow to do a Nakamura game with you guys versus Topalov. And then we'll do some studies, and we'll do some more puzzles and continue to get stronger. And like I said, go Team Chess Cruncher. Bye bye, guys. Be blessed.